Hello and welcome to another hardcore Nuzlocke. Today I want to attempt a run of Pokemon HeartGold using only shiny Pokemon. Since the introduction of shinies in Generation 2, trainers across the world have been enticed to catch these different color paletted Pokemon, and unfortunately for us, it is a 1 in 8,192 chance. That does not mean that if we go through 8,192 Pokemon, one of them will be shiny. No, it's 1 in 8,192 every single time we encounter the Pokemon. So this run has been going on in the background for the last couple of months, and finally we completed it. Now unfortunately, there's not a lot that we can do to change our shiny odds. There are a couple of things that we can do, and I am going to talk about those, but first, I want to talk about the shiny charm. It wasn't introduced until Black 2 and White 2. It did double your chance of finding a shiny down to 1 in 4,096. And Generation 6 onward, that is the chance to find shiny Pokemon. Unfortunately for us, Generations 1 through 5, it is a 1 in 8,192 chance, and there is no shiny charm in our future. There are, however, a couple of things that we can do. The Masuda method of breeding for shiny Pokemon is an option. We would need a regional shiny Ditto for our American game here, and that would give us a 1 in 682 chance of getting a shiny Pokemon that we breed. Unfortunately, this game came out in 2010, so us finding a shiny regional Ditto is going to be, well, a 0% chance. There is another thing called the Cute Charm glitch. It is specific to Generation 4, and it's something to do with your trainer ID and your secret ID and the PID. And you can have a Pokemon with Cute Charm, and you can do some RNG manipulation and get your shiny chance to almost 20%. And there's different things that come with it. Again, I don't know a lot about it, so I would check out YouTube and Google if you want to know more about that. The only things that we can really do in game, since we've talked about all those methods, is like some repel manipulation. On Route 36, Growlithe show up between level 15 and 17, and a lot of the other Pokemon show up at level 15. So if we have a higher level Pokemon and we use repels, we can force that encounter to be a Growlithe. The other thing that we can do is we can soft reset in front of static Pokemon like the Lapras in Union Cave. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do soft resetting here with our starter to try to get a shiny starter. We first save our game, and then we go into the capsule and we can look at these Pokemon. As you scroll through them, you will actually see the Pokemon, and if they are shiny, they will actually show up here, which is awesome. And because we're looking at 3 different Pokemon, our odds of finding a shiny starter is 1 in 2,730. Not great odds, but we can find a shiny. I don't have a specific one that I want to use. I'm just going to keep rolling to see which one comes up shiny, and that is the one we are going to roll with. Using speed up is also going to help us out, so cross your fingers and wish me luck. It only took a little over an hour and we found a shiny Cyndaquil. Hell yes. I'm so excited. That kind of sucks. It took a short amount of time because I feel like the rest of the run is going to drag because that's my luck, but we have our first shiny. I never actually got to use any of these starters as shinies in Generation 4. The only time I've ever seen a shiny Cyndaquil is in Legends. I did do a ton of shiny hunting in that game. I've got over 400 hours. I was working on a living dex, and we didn't quite complete it. Nonetheless, we nickname our Cyndaquil Titus, and there is a name theme, as there always is. Can you guys guess it with this first Pokemon? I bet you'll guess it on the second. Most of you probably already have it right now. Nonetheless, that's enough yapping. Before I walk to this aid that's going to talk to us, let's look at this thing, and it is Modest. Plus special attack, minus attack. I'll take it. You know what? I will actually take it. I'm going to use a certain moveset that we used in our fire-only run anyway. It goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. A challenge like this is going to take a lot of time. Shiny hunting takes a lot of time. I'm not going to sit here and get an encounter on every single route, Predominantly, I'm going to pick one location in between towns and shiny hunt there and try to catch a Pokemon. I also don't want to use Generation 1 Pokemon through this playthrough. We don't get any access to Generation 3 and 4 until post-game, so I'm not worried about those. I want to use predominantly Gen 2 shiny Pokemon. I think that's really going to add to this run and make it unique. With that being said, this is going to take a lot of time. Some of these soft resets, I don't know how they're going to go. And as far as hunting in certain areas, there is a handful of Pokemon that we can find, so it might not always work out in our favor, but I've got my fingers crossed. I've got every little magical juju thing I could. There's nothing but to get into the run. This part of every HeartGold or Soul Silver run baffles me. You come back to the lab to show the professor the egg that Mr. Pokemon was talking about, and the cops immediately interrogate you. Lyra comes to your aid, but why does Elm just sit there like, I am a world-renowned professor and I have no idea what's going on right now? Does he work for the government? Anyway, we nickname our rival Algorithm because that is what we are trying to beat both in-game and in real life. You guys know the routine. If you want to help me beat the Algorithm in real life, you can do so by liking the video, commenting, subscribing to the channel, sharing it with your friends. You know the routine. The channel is doing great. We're reaching new people. I see the comments all the time. Thank you so much. You don't know how much it means to me. It means the world. I'm glad you guys are enjoying these runs. I'm glad you guys appreciate the the commentary, the silliness. I leave in stuff like I just did moments ago because why not? I don't write a script to this. It's all off the cuff, and a lot of people seem to like it. A few don't, and that's okay. You don't have to. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of sugar. I might be your shot of tequila. Either way, I'm glad you guys are here. Let's get on with the run. Before I break away, though, it is very important in HeartGold and Soul Silver that you go back to your mom and you have her save money. You must do this. She gets you so many good items, though she calls you obnoxiously, telling you she bought the items. Do this. Well, we definitely used up our luck on the first shiny because a little over 7 hours later, I finally find a shiny Zubat here in Dark Cave. This was a bit of a roll of the dice. We could have found a Geodude, a Zubat, or a Dunsparce. Dunsparce only shows up at 4%, so the chances of me finding a shiny are very slim. I don't know that I would have held on to the Geodude for too long, but I definitely wanted the Zubat. Now, unfortunately, we did not grab as many Pokeballs. I still just have the ones that the professor gave me, and the reason I'm one short is because I caught a Sentret that had an Oranberry for the upcoming Falkner battle. Oh, so this could go dangerously bad. I swear if I don't get this shiny because I run out of Pokeballs, I'm going to pull my hair out what's left of it. Please get in the ball. Please. Oh! Calm down. Calm down. Woo. I don't get like loud and obnoxious when I get excited, but the words flow very similar to that of a sailor. Anyway, let's meet Lulu, the male Zubat. I forgot that it was male. Doesn't matter, I don't care. Name theme. Can you guys guess it? Titus, Lulu. Sassy. That is plus special defense minus speed. Damn it. The minus speed is not great, but I will take it. It is shiny nonetheless. Now, some of you probably have already come to the comment section saying, hey, your level cap in the first couple of clips was wrong, and you're right. Level 14 is not the level cap, level 13 is. Level 14 is the cap for Rourke in Pokemon Platinum. When I was doing some training before I caught the Zubat, I was thinking about Titus evolves at level 14 and how cool it would be to have a Quilava taken on Falkner But then I remembered when I did my run of HeartGold using only fire types, I did not have a Quilava when I took on Falkner. So I almost cost myself the run because in my scenes, for whatever reason, I don't have HeartGold and Platinum broken up. I have Emerald, Fire Red, Black and White. They're all on their own separate scenes, but HeartGold, Soul Silver, and Platinum are all sharing the same one. So the folder in which I keep the level cap numbers, it just goes to the last game we played, and the last run I did on this scene was in Platinum. Thankfully, I caught it because that would have cost me the run, and the 10 plus hours I've got in this game already would have been for nothing. Jeez. I know that one level wouldn't have made a lot of difference here at the first gym early game, but I do want to stick to the rules. That's why we're doing this. So at level 13, we take on Falkner. His Pidgey, not a problem. Ember does well over half of its health the first turn. We get hit with a tackle that does 4 HP of damage to us, and then we can take out the Pidgey with one more Ember. This does push us to level 14, getting that little bit extra damage as the Pidgeotto comes out. This thing can be annoying because it has Roost. We hit it with an Ember turn 1 that does about a third of its health. That's unfortunate, but provided it works with us, we can beat it. Gust takes us down to 24 HP. Our next Ember does a decent amount of damage and gets the burn. That's great because it wasn't quite a 3-shot. His Gust then takes us down to 15 HP. This activates our Oran Berry, bringing us back up to 25 HP. After the residual burn damage, Pidgeotto did not go for rest, and Falkner does not go for a potion, so another Ember takes it out, winning us the first gym badge. Not only do we get a badge for that, we also get a reward with Tidus evolving into a Quilava. Nice addition to the team. Again, this would have been fun to have before, but level caps are in place. After we beat Falkner, we get summoned to talk to this guy who wants us to take care of an egg. I will gladly take that egg from you. I get Professor Elm wanted us to take it. I don't understand why, but we're going to have one hell of a breakfast tomorrow, friends. Let me tell you what. Scrambled eggs, a little bacon. What do you guys think? Oh, take care of it. Oh. Well, I'll take care of it in my stomach. Whooper! Yes! I was hunting for either a Mareep or a Whooper. I did not want the Bellsprout or the Ratatatatata that we could get. I love Whooper. It is the OG water ground type Pokemon. It's not too often I play around with this thing, but we caught it with the first ball, and that is amazing. That Zubat had me... Whew! My blood pressure was through the roof. Now, of course, sticking to the name theme, I am going to nickname Whooper Waka. Can you guess the name theme yet? Now, taking a look at Waka 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 here, and that is not a perverted thing, that is a Pac-Man thing. It has a timid plus speed minus attack nature, and it has water absorb. Perfect. Damp would have been okay, but water absorb, we can play around with that, I think. Yes, amazing. The only thing that makes Bugsy formidable is his Technician boosted Scyther. His other Pokemon, meh. I do decide to lead Lulu in this battle. He did just learn Wing Attack, and it is a stab move. We do get outsped turn 1 and tagged with a Leer, which is very, very dangerous, but it didn't go for Focus Energy, so I'll take it. Wing Attack then does over half of Scyther's health. Unfortunately, that activates the Citrus Berry, pulling this thing out of a 2-shot range. We then get hit with a Technician boosted Quick Attack that takes us from full health all the way down to 16 HP, activating our Oran Berry. Another Wing Attack takes Scyther down to very low red health. We don't quite take it out, and I know Bugsy's going to use a Super Potion, so I might as well swap Tidus in for free. Bugsy uses that aforementioned Super Potion, and then Scyther goes for Focus Energy. That is very, very scary. Ember does not quite do half of Scyther's health. That is also very scary. Quick Attack doesn't crit, very nice. Ember down to a sliver of health. Quick Attack does not crit, does activate our berry, that doesn't matter. Another Ember takes out the Scyther, and that is all she wrote. End of the battle. We do have 2 more Pokemon, but the Metapod goes down to a single Ember, and so does the Kakuna. That is our second gym badge. Now, Misty and her Miltank can be a severe problem. It's very, very bulky, and there's not a lot I can do against it, so I'm going to prepare the best I can. If I had a Typhlosion, I could buy the Focus Blast TM here and take out her whole team, but I don't. I'm going to buy the Fire Blast TM because I did do a Fire type only run, so I know some strategies with Titus. The other thing that we can do is buy a TM or 2 for Protect, just in case she starts using Rollout, and we can put a quick stop to that. I don't know what else to do, so I'm going to go with the best strategy I have and hope for the best. I need to play a little Voltorb flip and get my hands on the Wide Lens. That's going to help us land some of those Fire Blasts that we're going to teach Titus. On Route 35, we can pick up TM66 for payback. I can teach this to Lulu, and maybe that is another answer. The other thing that I think I'm going to do whilst I'm here on Route 35 is do some shiny hunting. There's not a crazy amount of Pokemon here, but I can get the Nidorans. Maybe another encounter is all I need. Now imagine you were shiny hunting for the course of a couple of days, totaling over 8 hours, and this is what you find. A shiny Ditto. Yeah, blue turd. It's because I talked about one at the very beginning of the game, so RNGesus heard me, and he blessed me with the Ditto. You know, if I hadn't named my HM Mom Turd, I would name you Turd, but yeah. It takes a bit and a couple of Pokeballs, but eventually we do catch it. It is a shiny, and we're going to add it to the team. I really don't want to, but what else am I going to do for now? The nickname that I decided to go with is Kamari. You guys should guess the nickname theme at this point. It's pretty obvious. I spelt that wrong? Kamari? Yeah, it's way wrong. Kamar, it's an HRI. There we go. Fixed. No problems. I'm not happy about this encounter. Nonetheless, let's take a look at Kamari here, and it has a Jolly plus speed minus special attack nature. It has the Limber ability, which I don't really care about. I wanted another Pokemon to help me with Whitney, and I don't think you were the answer. Against Whitney, I decide, why not? Let's go ahead and lead with Kamari and see what is the worst that can happen. I lose a Pokemon that I didn't want anyway. Of course, turn 1, we have to hit Transform, and we turn into Whitney's Clefairy. Clefairy misses a double slap, so that is awesome. Turn 2, I decide to go for Metronome, and we pull the move Dragon Pulse. It does a decent amount of damage, and we get hit with a 3-turn double slap that doesn't do a lot of damage to us. The next turn, I go for Metronome again, and this time we pull Dragon Rage, and that is enough to KO the Clefairy. I guess RNGesus did truly know what I needed. I was wrong. Kamari, you were exactly what I needed. Who knew? Miltank comes out and quickly takes the blinders off by taking us down to 20 HP with a Stomp. I do go for Metronome and pull another Dragon Pulse, which is pretty random to pull the same move twice. It does a little bit of chip damage, and I decide to swap into Lulu. Lulu comes out and gets hit with a Stomp that does exactly half of our health. Well, that didn't go according to plan. I go for Protect. Why not? We're just going to waste a power point. And then I swap into Titus. We get hit with a Stomp, and Titus tanks it a lot better than Lulu did. And then we get tagged with Attract. That is very, very annoying, and I forgot that Miltank had that. I also misclicked and hit Ember, which takes Miltank down to about half. We then get hit with Stomp, down to 17 HP. We are in love, but Titus does not care about love, breaking through, landing a Fire Blast that does take out the Miltank, winning us the 3rd gym badge. After meeting Bill at the Pokemon Center in Ecruteak, we follow him back to Goldenrod, kind of like a stalker, because I want a soft reset for a shiny Eevee. Now, I'm not going to nickname this Pokemon as we continuously soft reset for it. It's just faster. We're in Goldenrod. The name rater's right there. We will nickname it. This could take a while. Luckily, we can speed this up and we can run through this. Now, some of you guys might see my in-game time and go, hey man, your times aren't matching up with all the things that you're saying. It's because when we soft reset like this, we have saved the game at a certain point, and it doesn't matter if this takes an hour or 20 hours, you're not going to see that time difference because we're just soft resetting. That's the joy of it. Yeah, wish me luck. A shiny Eevee seems to be the bane of my existence. In Legends, it took me forever to find my first one. I've only found a couple. I haven't played the game in a long time, but I was trying to get 9 of these things. And it took a little over 9 hours to get this timid Eevee, which is plus speed minus attack. It's the same as Waka. Welcome to the team nonetheless, Eevee. Let's go give you a nickname. I'd like everybody to welcome Yuna to the team. Yes, I have special plans for you, Yuna. Can you guess the name theme? I bet you have. I do love the fact that the overworld sprites are shiny as well. I forgot to mention that early on in the game. You can see these guys in their shiny form running around. It's absolutely amazing. I check out every single one of these as we can. Now, I have been running around like a madman upping the friendship of Yuna here. I have the Soothe Bell equipped on her. We want to get this thing evolved as soon as possible, and our friendship is high enough that all we have to do is gain it one more level. We'll fight this trainer right here. No big deal. Of course, we need to swap out. Take this trainer out with a Fire Blast, and Yuna gains a level to level 6. And we get a beastly evolution here in the morning to an Espeon. Limitations of Generation 2, there's a lot of green and pink shinies, like Wooper and Zubat and Espeon. But tell me that green isn't absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Because of the higher level cap, we can evolve Lulu as well into its next form, Golbat. And unfortunately for Golbat, and fortunately for us, it's not going to stay one very long because its friendship is definitely high enough to evolve it into its very next form, which is my favorite Pokemon, Crobat. It has been since Gen 2. I love it. The shiny, I wish it would have stayed green with the pink like Golbat before it, but I will take this shiny Crobat nonetheless. Bulk added to the team. And speaking of bulk, we have one more evolution, Waka, evolving into its final form, Quagsire. Again, another pink Pokemon, but I do love this Pokemon nonetheless. You goofy looking. He just looks like he needs a hug, and I want to hug you. Look at the thing. Look at the thing where Waka is next to Crobat. He's facing the other way. That is the funniest thing. I love that so much. That is awesome. I don't have my little bottom screen correct because we are leading Yuna against Morty's team. They're all ghost type, but they are part poison. We are fast and we hit very hard, so we should be able to sweep his team very easily. As a matter of fact, the first Ghastly goes down to the stab, super effective confusion. His Haunter goes down to a stab, super effective confusion as well. His Ace Gengar comes out and unfortunately holds on with a sliver of health. We do get the confusion, which is pretty awesome, and the Citrus Berry activates, pulling this thing out of healing range. Unfortunately for us, Gengar breaks through confusion to fire off a nasty Shadow Ball, and it is very nasty, leaving Yuna at 5 HP. Oh god. We can take out the Gengar with one more confusion, but as his last Haunter comes out, I don't want to lose Yuna. We almost did. I just got this Pokemon, so I swap into Lulu. Lulu gets hit with a Nightshade on the swap in, which only does 23 HP of damage, and then we get hit with a priority Sucker Punch before we can take this thing out with a super effective bite. That was a very close call, but we did win the 4th gym badge relatively easy. This gives us access to the HM move Surf outside of battle. In Ekritique, we can surf in this little pond right here, and the only encounter that we are going to find is either a Poliwag or a Poliwhirl. So that is one of the forced encounters. We can sit here and surf around until we find a shiny of one or the other. Just a few hours later, shiny Poliwag. Beautiful. This one wasn't too bad, and a much welcome addition to the team if we can catch it compared to Kamari. I'm sorry, you're just not that great. We can do a little bit of damage with quick attack. We have a low attack, so I'm not worried too much about taking this thing out. I am very scared about critting though. So I decide to start throwing some Pokeballs, and maybe we can catch it with the Premier Ball. I think that would look awesome. 1, 2, 3. Really? Perfect. Yes, we caught it. That is awesome. Now, I am going to name this Poliwag, Auron. It's not Aaron, it's Auron, A-U-R-O-N. And let's take a look at Auron and see what's happening. Summary, it has a naughty nature. Plus attack, minus special defense. Okay, and water absorb. Now we have 2 water absorbers on the team. A physical Poliwag? I think so. This guy wants my phone number after I beat him. Says, I'll call you to get stronger, or when I get stronger, and I tell him no, and he's like, looks like you're the wimp. I just beat you, dude. You want a physical one-on-one? The Pokemon universe is crazy. Be still, my beating heart. My love, Jasmine. Hello. Yes, the Ampharos is very sick. There is a pharmacy in Cianwood, and you want me to go get it? Absolutely. For you, anything. I will absolutely travel the world over. Now, from what I hear, Chuck's been talking smack, singing some songs and making fun. Zap and Jasmine sitting in a tree. You know what, man? I've had enough of it, and we're going to handle this like men. You, me, gym battle, right now. Against his Primeape, I lead Yuna. Yuna fires off a stab super effective confusion and takes out the Primeape. This thing has Rock Slide, so I couldn't lead with Lulu. Otherwise, we had another option. Poliwrath comes out. I'm going to go for a little bit of chip damage with Swift, and Swift actually gets a critical hit, taking this thing below half, activating its Citrus Berry. That's fine. We get hit with a fairly weak Surf. I can fire off another Swift, bringing Poliwrath back down to lower than half health, and this time it decides to go for Body Slam, doing a lot of damage to us, down to 30 HP. No matter, next turn we can fire off a Stab Super Effective Confusion, taking out the Poliwrath and shutting Chuck up. Immediately leaving the gym, his wife stops us to give us the HM for Fly, and I know in Gold and Silver this was a very different conversation. She was a little meaner then, but she says basically, you know, you'll be able to fly. It's a little rough going back and forth, but she still does say that he needs to train harder because he's a little chubby. Do you think that maybe Chuck was making fun of me because he's projecting his insecurities and his inadequacies that his wife is talking about? That's typically what bullies do, right? They project. Nonetheless, I stood up to my bully, and I got the medicine, so it's time for a date with Destiny. Or Jasmine, rather. Here is the medicine, and it will definitely cure Amphi. This might be too much to ask, but I did just travel across the ocean to another town. Do you think that maybe since Amphi's feeling a little bit better, you and I, we could have an official date? It would mean the world to me, you don't understand. The Pokemon is happy and healthy. You're relieved, I'm relieved. Yes, thank you. I will meet you at your gym for our date. That date, of course, is going to be a little postponed because we got to take on Pryce first, but I did want to talk about the shiny red Gyarados at the Lake of Rage. This would be a good Pokemon to catch. It is a viable encounter. However, I have 2 water types on my team already. Number 1, number 2, Gyarados is a very overpowered Pokemon. I've kind of stopped using it in a lot of my runs. It would be a great addition to the team as far as an HM slave because this thing can learn things like Surf and Waterfall, Whirlpool, Strength. I don't want to take it on the team nonetheless. All I want to do is knock this thing out. It does take a little bit of swapping back and forth to take this thing out, but eventually it goes down, and the reason for that is I want the red scale that comes after we beat it. Because we can head over to Mr. Pokemon's house and give this to him in exchange for an experience share. It's good to have this on our team for raising the next teammate that we will be getting in a little while. And what HeartGold run wouldn't be complete without watching Lance completely obliterate a man with Hyper Beam from his Dragonite. I'll say it once, I say it again. Johto is a feral land. People aren't giving out gym badges. People are taking out other people with Pokemon. What a place. Jasmine's grandfather, Pryce, does not approve of this new relationship, so I must defeat him in a Pokemon battle to win his approval. He leads Seal, and I lead Auron. I go for Body Slam turn 1, which does just over half of Seal's health, and like I thought it would, it sets up the Hail. That little bit of chip damage definitely puts this thing in range of another Body Slam to take it out. It is not an Ice-type Pokemon. Body Slam does take out the Seal, and out comes Piloswine. I'm anticipating a Mud Bomb here, so I pivot into Lulu, which Piloswine does go for Mud Bomb, so we avoid it, and then I can finally bring out Titus. We get hit with a resisted Blizzard on the swap-in, and a single Fire Blast connects and is enough to take out the Piloswine. Dewgong comes out. It doesn't have any Water-type moves, so I stay in and fire off a Swift. Now, unfortunately, Swift does not do a lot of damage to Dewgong. It then hits us with an Aurora Beam, which can lower our attack, but that doesn't matter because we are running a special attacker. It does, of course, get the attack drop, which is why I mentioned it. I then miss a Fire Blast and get hit with another Aurora Beam. They're doing a decent amount of damage. I'm down to 35 HP, and I decide that's a good time to swap in Waka. Waka gets hit with an Aura Beam on the swap-in, and then gets outsped and hit with another one, down to 55 HP, and we fire off a decent Mud Bomb, taking Dewgong below half health. I anticipate that it is going to go for rest, so I swap into Yuna. Dewgong then does go to sleep like I thought it would. I fire off a Sand Attack because I know this thing has Sleep Talk. It does in fact go for Sleep Talk, which pulls Aurora Beam, so we take a little bit of damage from that, and then I go for another Sand Attack. Dewgong goes for Sleep Talk once again, and goes for Priority Ice Shard. Interesting. Doing a little bit of damage, I then go for Confusion, which doesn't quite do half, but it does get the Confusion. Dewgong wakes up, breaks through Confusion, but is still trying to go for Sleep Talk because it doesn't understand how rest works. A Swift then takes Dewgong down below half health in range for a KO from Confusion. We get a Aurora Beam miss, and then we outspeed it and take it out with that Confusion, winning us the gym battle. We have a pretty big evolution with Auron evolving into a Poliwhirl. I'm still waiting for it to learn a couple of moves before we get it to its final evolution, but this bulk is needed, and welcome to the team. For our date, Jasmine agrees to have a friendly Pokemon battle here in the gym where she likes to use Steel-type. I have a Fire-type Pokemon, so this battle is not going to go very good for her. She leads with Magnemite, and I lead Titus. I decide to go for the more accurate Flamethrower, and it does in fact KO the Magnemite. She throws a little bit of a wrench in the plans by bringing Steelix out next, kind of caught me off guard, but I fire off a Fire Blast that does connect, and it is actually enough to KO the Steelix. Very nice. This means as her last Magnemite comes out, we can fire off one more Flamethrower and win us the 7th gym battle. We also won Jasmine's heart in the process, and from what I can hear, wedding bells. It's in our future. I know it is. After we defeat her, of course, she says to us that we are both a better trainer in skill and kindness. And of course, she has to give us the badge. That wasn't really part of the date, but I do appreciate it. Yeah. Now, she gives us the TM for Iron Tail, which doesn't matter. But let me tell you, come on. I mean, look. Do we... Dang it. Come... Right. Okay. Do we not look like the cutest couple in the world? I do believe in the original Gen 2 games that this guy did not block you from going to Blackthorn. I'm pretty sure you could make your way there before doing the events of the radio tower. But we gotta head back to Goldenrod and we'll just do all the Team Rocket stuff and whatever. With all the grinding that we can do in the radio tower, we get one of a few evolutions with Titus evolving into its final form, Typhlosion. This is a cool looking shiny with that kind of pinkish purple hue, almost a red. I don't even know how to describe that color. It's cool. Our next Evo is Ornn evolving into its final form, and I did not decide to go with Poliwrath. I did let it learn Belly Drum and Wake Up Slap, and then we slapped a King's Rock on it, and we evolve it into a Politoed. And that is the coolest shiny, and that is the freaking cutest ass Pokemon I have ever seen in my entire life. Oh my god. I have my favorite Pokemon like Crobat and Dunsparce and a few others. But dude, I guess I've never really paid attention. This is the absolute cutest thing I have ever seen. I'm going to love you and protect you forever. Petrel in the radio tower is a very scary battle. He's got 5 coughings and a wheezing that can go boom. And if Waka had the damp ability, this wouldn't be a problem. We also have Yuna that is super fast and has the super effective move Confusion. We learned Psybeam in the process too, so this battle was never an issue, but it is one that you do have to pay attention if you're doing your own Nuzlocks, because he can wipe out your team unexpectedly with Self-Destruct and Explosion. I wasn't actually going to show this battle with Algo because he's not difficult anymore, but I almost make a huge mistake. I don't really care about a certain Pokemon on my team, but nonetheless, I don't want any deaths. Against his Golbat, I'd lead Yuna. Yuna takes out the Golbat, single Psybeam. Out comes Haunter, same thing, it goes down to a single Psybeam. Sneasel comes out next. I quickly swap into Titus, who gets hit with a Feint Attack on the swap in, and then we can take it out with a single Flamethrower. Feraligatr comes out next, so I swap into Waka, who just absorbs a Water Gun with his Water Absorb ability. We then get hit with a Thrash, and I go for Yawn. We get hit with another Thrash, and we fire off a decent little Mud Bomb. Feraligatr gets confused due to fatigue, and then falls asleep because of the Yawn. Stays asleep long enough for us to fire off 2 more Mud Bombs, taking it out. This just leaves his Magnemite, and so I swap in Kamari being cheeky. We get hit with a Sonic Boom on the swap in, and then I go for Transform. This is where things go bad, because I get hit with another Sonic Boom down to 46 HP. I figure, whatever, I'll fire off a Sonic Boom, but I get outsped down to 26 HP with that aforementioned Sonic Boom. We do a decent amount of damage with Sonic Boom to Magnemite, but things are getting a little scary, and I can't swap out because of Magnet Pull. Yeah, yep, can't run either. I didn't mean to click that. I just go for Sonic Boom, and this time we outspeed, and we take this thing down to very low health. We get hit with another Sonic Boom down to 6 HP. If I outspeed, we live. We outspeed, we take out the Magnemite. Whoops. The 8th and final gym leader, Clair, is normally an intense battle. She is very dangerous. Her Kingdra in the back is scary, and her Gyarados is scary. Fortunately, her Gyarados doesn't have a good moveset, so we can set up on this thing very easily. I lead with Waka to soak up the Intimidate, and we get hit with a Dragon Rage like I said. We need to do a little bit of EV training. All of my Pokemon being outsped is getting very annoying. I fire off a Yawn, and then I decide to swap in Ornn. I should have probably not done this. I thought tanking a Dragon Rage would be fine, because it only does 40 HP of damage. Gyarados falls asleep, and then I go for Belly Drum. This is where I made my mistake. I should have just swapped in after it fell asleep and went for Belly Drum. I wanted to make sure that my Citrus Berry activated, but I dropped myself to 27 HP. And then the Citrus Berry activates, bringing me back up to 60. Nonetheless, we do take out the Gyarados with a single +6 boosted Body Slam, one-shotting it. Out comes the first of 2 Dragonairs. It goes down to a single body slam. The second Dragonair comes out and goes down to a body slam as well. And this just leaves Kingdra. Again, big mistake. I stay in. I do get outsped and I get hit with a Dragon Pulse. Auron tanks it though on 14 HP and fires back with a body slam that cleanly one-shots the Kingdra, winning us a very easy 8th and final gym. We of course have to do the Dragon Trainer Challenge where we answer a bunch of questions, and then this guy tells Clair, give him the badge or I'm going to tell Lance. The reason that I'm talking about any of this is we can come back here and this guy will give us a Dratini that has extreme speed, and then you can soft reset and get a shiny. It's a Kanto Pokemon. I really don't want it, but it is a viable option. The biggest thing is beating Clair gives us access to Waterfall, and now I can go get my actual 6th encounter that I wanted a while back, but we couldn't get it until we got access to Waterfall outside of battles. So inside of Mount Mortar, there is the Karate King right here that we can battle. It is imperative that our team is completely full of 6 Pokemon, so we have no empty slots. Then what we're going to do is we're going to battle this trainer and beat him, and as a reward, he's going to try to give us a fighting type Pokemon. There's no room in our party, so now we must leave and make room. Doing those steps makes it to where we can save in front of him, and we can just get this Pokemon over and over again, making the resets much, much faster than having to beat him each and every time to try to get a shiny Tyrogue. This is a shiny I have never seen, but a Pokemon I think I want to use nonetheless. Finally, my goodness. And it's Adamant 2 plus attack minus special attack. This has taken me over 6 days. Couple hours here, couple hours there. I have been at this for almost 15 hours re-rolling to try to get this shiny. Same thing, I didn't nickname this because it's just easier. Oh, that nature is beautiful. Don't really care about the steadfast ability. I actually don't even know what abilities this thing can have. I know though that if its attack is higher than its defense, we can get a Hitmonchan. If its defense is higher than its attack, we get Hitmonlee. And if the 2 are equal, it will become a Hitmontop at level 20. Before all of that though, meet Riku, the shiny Tyrogue. Hell yes. This is a cool addition to the team, and this shiny is phenomenal. I love it. Truly. Now it took a little bit. I've been giving this thing some irons to up its defense until our effort values were enough. Every time you give it a vitamin, it gives you plus 10 to your EVs. So it has equal defense and attack as we get it to level 20. So now we can get our hands on a shiny Hitmontop, a Pokemon I have never, ever used, and it is so cool. I absolutely love that Pokemon. This was well worth the grind. I had to be very, very careful though I didn't EV train this thing other than its defense so that we didn't offset anything. Man, just look at that Pokemon. So cool. Heading to the Tin Tower, this is one of my favorite areas in the game. I absolutely love these fall assets here. I wish they used these in more of the game. Atop of the Tin Tower, we have a battle with Ho-Oh, and we could sit here and re-roll this encounter, soft reset, and get a shiny, but I don't allow legendaries in my runs, so I'm not going to do that. I am, however, going to catch this thing. There is a very specific reason that I want Ho-Oh, so I'm going to go ahead and waste the Master Ball catching this thing. So heading to the very back of Union Cave after access to Surf, and with Ho-Oh in our party, we come to this area in the Ruins of Alph. Now, I should have battled this trainer, of course, before I came in here, but that's what a professional would do. We're not professionals. We're going to take out this Girafarig, though, with a single thief. And then when we get into this building, just having Ho-Oh in our party is enough. We come and talk to this little billboard here that says Ho-Oh in Unknowns, and a door opens up because Ho-Oh is in our party. This gives us access to a few items, the first one being a Life Orb. That is amazing. Don't know if I'll use it, but this is the reason to get Ho-Oh. We then have a Revival Herb. We can get our hands on a second Charcoal, and then there's a Lepa Berry, which doesn't really matter. But that is the whole reason that I got Ho-Oh, is so I could have access to the Life Orb and this extra Charcoal. The Life Orb actually boosts the power of moves at the cost of HP each hit. It boosts your moves by 30%, so it might be worth using. So here is our team all leveled up and ready to take on the Elite Four. We have Yuna the Espeon with Psybeam, Swift, Shadow Ball, and Sand Attack. Auron the Politoed with Body Slam, Belly Drum, Wake Up Slap, and Waterfall. Lulu the Crobat with Fly, U-Turn, Poison Fang, and Roost. We then have Waka 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 the Quagsire with Surf, Yawn, Ice Beam, and Earthquake. Wrong button. Titus the Typhlosion with Fire Blast, Focus Blast, Solar Beam, and Sunny Day. And rounding out the team is Riku the Hitmontop with Rolling Kick, Aerial Ace, Fake Out, and Thief. This team is all ready to go. Let's see if we can beat the Elite Four and Champion. Against Will, we lead with Yuna. Yuna has equipped the Choice Specs and has Shadow Ball. We're going to outspeed every single one of his Pokemon and hopefully one-shot them. His first Xatu does go down to a single super effective Shadow Ball. He decides to bring out his Ace Xatu, and it gets outsped and taken out with a single super effective Shadow Ball. Out next is Executor. It goes down to a single Shadow Ball as well. Jinx comes out. It falls to a super effective Shadow Ball. And last but not least is his Slowbro, which is what I was wondering if we could one-shot it. We can. Single Shadow Ball takes it down and we win the first Elite Four matchup. Koga and his poison types also don't stand a chance against Yuna. He does have a Fortress that's going to throw a little bit of a wrench into our plans, but I have a plan nonetheless. Against his Ariados, we do outspeed it, and we can take it out with a single Choice Specs boosted Stab super effective Psybeam. Fortress then comes out. I swap into Titus immediately. Fortress just goes for Swift, which doesn't do a lot of damage, even though it crits, and I can take it out with a single quad super effective Stab Fire Blast. Very nicely done. Out comes Muck, so I swap back into Yuna. Muck, of course, is going to go for Minimize. We know it does. We know it will. Doesn't matter. Yuna doesn't care about that evasion and fires off a Stab super effective Psybeam that does one-shot it. Very nice. Out next is his Crobat. Crobat actually outspeeds us and hits us with a Wing Attack. It does a decent amount of damage, but no matter. We fire off a Psybeam that cleanly one-shots it. Last but not least for Koga is his Venomoth. We outspeed it and can fire off a Stab super effective Psybeam, and that is a very big showing from Yuna in the first two Elite Four battles. It's crazy to think, but against Bruno, I could lead with Yuna. Yuna could pretty much take care of 3/4 of this Elite Four. However, I do decide to swap it around and lead Riku against Hitmontop. Turn 1, I go for a priority Fake Out just to get that little bit of chip damage, and it does a decent amount. Technician is a great ability. We then outspeed the Hitmontop and take it out with a super effective Aerial Ace. Hitmonlee comes out and outspeeds us and hits us with a Swagger. I forgot to equip a berry. I had a Lumberry planned, but we break through the confusion and can take out the Hitmonlee with a single super effective +2 boosted Aerial Ace. Out next is Machamp. Machamp is a bit crazy, can be kind of scary, but we break through confusion and outspeed it to take it out with a single Aerial Ace. Very nicely done. Onix then comes out next. We do break through confusion to fire off a Stab super effective Rolling Kick, one-shotting it, and this just leaves Hitmonchan. We snap out of confusion and can take it out with a +2 super effective Aerial Ace, and that was a very good showing from Riku against the fighting type Bruno. Against Karen of the Elite Four, obviously I can't lead with Yuna, but I could have brought Riku out and done some damage, but I decided to go with Titus because he hasn't seen a lot of screen time in a while, and he's a good matchup against her entire team. Turn 1, we connect with a Focus Blast against her Umbreon, And Umbreon is showing off its bulkiness by not going down to a single super effective Focus Blast. It hangs on in low red health and fires off a double powered payback that despite that doesn't do a lot of damage. Karen then goes for a full restore and I try the stab move Fire Blast and it does well over half of Umbreon's health. We connect with a second Fire Blast to take it out and out comes Houndoom. I connect with another Focus Blast, and we cleanly one-shot the Houndoom. Gengar comes out and hits us with a Spite to get rid of our power points on Focus Blast, but I was going for Sunny Day setting up the sun anyway. Gengar hits us with another Spite to lower the power points of Sunny Day, and I fire off a sun-boosted stab Fire Blast, cleanly one-shotting the Gengar. Vileplume comes out, and it of course does not stand up to a single sun-boosted stab, super effective Fire Blast, and out comes Murkrow. Murkrow also goes down to a single sun-boosted Fire Blast, and that is the Elite Four complete. This battle with Lance is absolutely crazy. I decided to lead Titus against his Gyarados, which may seem a little bit weird, but we can soak up the Intimidate so we don't have to worry about that loss of attack, and I can swap Titus out baiting the water move. I pivot into Waka, as Gyarados does in fact go for Waterfall. Can't do anything to us. I can then tag Gyarados with a Yawn, but first we get hit with a Flail, which is a very odd move choice. I then decide to swap out because I need Waka at as full of health as possible, and I swap in Riku. We get hit with another Flail on the swap in, which again, a very weird move choice. Gyarados falls asleep. I didn't quite know if my plan was going to work here, so Gyarados stays asleep and I fire off a Pecha Berry, Electric type, Natural Gift. I don't know if that combos with Technician or not, because it is a 60 base power move, but it is enough to one-shot the Gyarados. That is a huge threat out of the way, but Lance's team is never easy. Out next comes his Charizard because it has Air Slash, so I swap into Lulu, who does get hit with that aforementioned Air Slash. I then try to go for a Poison with Poison Fang. We do a decent amount of damage, but we don't get the Poison. We then get hit with an Air Slash down to 38 HP, so I need to swap Lulu out, and so I U-turn for a little bit of chip. I then bring in Orin, who gets hit with a Fire Fang on the swap in because it was going for a random move. That is awesome. We then get outsped and hit with an Air Slash, and unfortunately it flinches us. Charizard then goes for another Air Slash, taking us down to 56 HP, and I can fire off a Waterfall this time that takes out the Charizard. This brings out the Dragonite that knows Thunder, I'm pretty sure. So I swap Ornn into Waka, and Dragonite sure enough is going for Thunder. Dragonite then misses Dragon Rush, so we can take it out with a quad super effective Ice Beam. This brings out Lance's Ace Dragonite, who goes for Safeguard, and I fire off that quad super effective Ice Beam with Never Melt Ice, and it doesn't quite take out the Dragonite. Citrus Berry then activates, pulling the Dragonite out of healing range, and unfortunately it goes for Hyper Beam. And Hyper Beam, of course, does a lot of damage to Waka. We can take out this Dragonite with one more Ice Beam, and his last Dragonite then comes out. I don't want to lose Waka. I can't outspeed, so I swap in Riku. Riku gets hit with a Dragon Rush on the swap in down to 25 HP. That's not great. I decide to swap in Yuna because I think Dragonite's going to go for a random move, and it does in fact go for Blizzard, which doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does enough damage. I can outspeed and fire off a Psybeam. I don't think I can survive another hit. And we get a crit to knock out the Dragonite. That is absolutely amazing. We just have the Aerodactyl left, but unfortunately I don't think we're going to survive this deathless. Yuna is the fastest Pokemon I have, so I'm going to stay in and see what happens. I click Psybeam, and I actually get outsped and hit with a Rock Slide that KOs Yuna. Damn. That really, really sucks. If she doesn't outspeed, nobody outspeeds, so we can easily wipe. I could bring Titus out, but he doesn't have a super effective move, so I send out Orin. We get outsped, and we get hit with an aerial ace. That gets a low roll, and we survive on 5 HP, meaning we can fire off a stab, super effective waterfall, and it is enough to one-shot the Aerodactyl from full health, winning us the champion battle, winning us the Elite Four and the run. That is absolutely amazing. We did lose Yuna, and that sucks, but we beat Lance. I cannot believe it. Now, technically, that is the end of the run. We beat the Elite Four. Everything after this is post-game. I've said this every time I've done a HeartGold run. The one time I didn't do the Kanto portion, I had a couple of comments from people that didn't like it. I normally end the run here and do a part 2, but I feel like we can run through Kanto relatively easy with this non-monotype team. So for one last time, let's take a look at our victors of the Hall of Fame. We have Titus the Typhlosion. Very awesome Pokemon, did very well through the Elite Four. Orin clutched it out at the very end. This Politoed, again, you are the cutest. I will protect you. I can't believe I almost lost you. I probably would have cried. Lulu the Crobat, one of my favorite Pokemon. Had you since the beginning. Hall of Fame. This derpy dude is amazing, and I want to hug it. Waka, welcome to the Hall of Fame. Riku, the Hitmontop, has been an amazing addition to the team since we got him right here at the end, and I'm really happy we went through the trouble of getting it. Now, unfortunately, for the last time, this is where we say goodbye to Yuna the Espeon. You carried us at the very beginning of the Elite Four, and you will be sorely missed. This is the team, and what a team it was. As we find our way back into Johto and into Cherry Grove, we must deposit Yuna into the Fallen box. You are gone, but not forgotten. You got us through some key battles with Morty, Will, Koga. You carried the team. This is one of the best evolutions. You guys know it. I know it. Getting the shiny Eevee was such a pain. I am so damn mad that you died in the champion battle, but we persevered with only one loss. The hole in our heart can never be filled. You will be missed. With the postgame now open, we have access to the Battle Frontier, or the Frontier access here before the Battle Frontier, and we can talk to these guys in this house, this one in particular with 40 battle points, and we can teach Waka a great move that I've been waiting to teach him since we got him, Earth Power. He is a special attacker. I've been running Earthquake. Earthquake has been great, but Earth Power is going to be so much better. I know it doesn't have the same 100 base power, it's 90 base power, but we are a special attacker. On Route 43 in the morning, there is a predominant chance to find Mareep or Giraffarick. So I was hunting for either or, the electric type or the psychic type, fine with me. I had this thing on my normal type team, and I don't remember it outshining anything, but we found a shiny, so we're going to try to add it to the team. Now, unfortunately, where this thing is at with its level, we can't do any damage to it, so I'm going to have to try to throw Pokeballs, and after a few fail, I decide to swap in Waka, who can at least put this thing to sleep. We do yawn it, and we throw a Great Ball at it, and we almost catch it, but it's just toying with us. Eventually, after another round of sleep, we do catch this thing in an Ultra Ball, and that is amazing. We're going to add it to the team. I'm so happy. Now, when it comes to the name theme, I am going to name this thing Jekt. And if you guys haven't guessed, these are the team members and characters of Final Fantasy X. One of my favorite Final Fantasy games. Not my favorite, but one of them. Let's go ahead and take a look at Jekt here. It has a careful plus special defense minus special attack nature. That's not great. This thing is predominantly a special attacker. Here in Kanto, we don't have any time for nostalgia as we make port. I have got a mission, and I am going to complete this Kanto side of the game very, very fast. The first 7 gym leaders of Kanto are typically very, very easy to defeat. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time. We're just going to speed up through the battles. We should be able to one-shot most of these Pokemon, and if it gets a hairy, obviously we'll swap. Janine, not a problem. Koga and his electric types, I have Waka in his ground typing. They're going to try to do double teams or set up screens, that type of stuff, but it doesn't matter we're going to take all of these Pokemon out with this newly learned Earth Power. The Light Screen is a bit annoying from the Electabuzz, and Low Kick did do a little bit of damage, but nonetheless we do take it out. I can't believe we outspeed the Magneton and take it out, and his last Electro goes down as well. For Misty, I don't have a great Pokemon to deal with her, so I decide to lead with Orin. We do the same thing we did against Clair, and we set up a Belly Drum. We didn't put ourselves in the berry healing range, which is what I was worried about against Clair, but nonetheless, we take out all of her Pokemon in a single hit. We do get outsped and hit with Ice Beam, but it didn't do anything. Brock's rock types aren't going to stand up to us. I lead with Waka, who takes out the Graveler with a single Surf. Kabutops comes out and uses Giga Drain, which could have taken us out if it had crit, so I decide to swap into Ject, where I have gotten a couple of TMs for it, like Energy Ball, which one-shots the Kabutops. It also one-shots the Onix. Rhyhorn comes out and goes down to a single Energy Ball, and Omastar is quad weak to it as well, so that was very easy. Ject is actually proving to be a very good Pokemon here in the post-game. We do get outsped by Espeon and get hit with 2 Psychics, which is annoying, so when the Alakazam comes out, I decide we definitely got to swap. I don't want to lose it. We'll just bring Titus in on an Energy Ball, which is really random. Fire Blast doesn't take out the Alakazam. The Reflect doesn't matter. We take it out. Mr. Mime goes down to a single Fire Blast. Erica's a bit different. I could have led with Titus, but I decided to give Lulu a little bit of play here in the post-game. We take out the Jumpluff with a single Fly. I go for Poison Fang, which doesn't do a lot of damage to the Tangela, so we go for Fly. Tangela goes down. Victory Bell goes down to a single Fly. Bellossom comes out. It's a pure grass type. Poison Fang doesn't quite take it out. It's a little bit of a back and forth with Solar Beam and Synthesis, but we eventually take this thing out with a combination of Fly and Poison Fang. Blaine is typically the easiest of the 7 gym leaders with his fire types. His Magcargo does go down in a single Surf. Magmar outspeeds us to set up the Sun, which is annoying, but Surf still does a lot of damage. And then tags us with a Confuse Ray that we break through and take it out. When the Rapidash comes out, we do break through Confusion, but now we're having a big back and forth with Blaine and his pocket full of full restores, which is very, very annoying. I got a pocket full of full restores. What are you going to do if my pockets are bigger than yours? Eventually, after all of this, Rapidash goes for Overheat, putting us at 80 HP, and we win. The only gym leader in Kanto that is a real challenge is typically Blue. He doesn't have a monotype team. He's got some really good Pokemon, and if you're running a monotype team, things can get very difficult very fast. His Executor likes to set up Trick Room to make slow Pokemon fast, so we've got to take this thing out, which we do with a single stab super effective Fire Blast from Titus here turn 1. Because Titus is out, this is going to bait out a couple of different Pokemon. It could be Rhydon, it could be Machamp, it could be Gyarados, we don't know. It actually turns out to be Rhydon. So I pivot into Waka, who can tank a Stone Edge very, very well. We can then fire off a quad super effective Surf that cleanly one-shots the Rhydon. Machamp then comes out next. We can tag it with a Yawn, and it actually hits us with Dynamic Punch. That does a ton of damage. Wow. I decide at this point it's probably going to go for another Dynamic Punch, so I swap in Lulu that can resist it, and we do in fact get hit with another Dynamic Punch that doesn't do a lot of damage this time, but of course causes confusion. Machamp then goes to sleep. I can bring in Riku at this point, who then hits an Aerial Ace. I think Machamp is hitting us with Dynamic Punch because it has no guard. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, Aerial Ace is not enough to take it out. I should have gone for the Fake Out, which I don't have anymore, never mind. Blue then uses a full Restore, so we hit it with another Aerial Ace down to a Sliver, and then we can take it out with one more Aerial Ace, outspeeding it the next turn. This brings in Pidgeot because of its flying type, so I have to swap out, and I swap into Ject, who does get hit with an Air Slash. Does a decent amount of damage, but I did manage to steal the leftovers off of the Snorlax. I fire off a Thunderbolt that we recently taught Ject, and it does a significant amount of damage. This is Blue's Ace Pidgeot, so it has the equipped Citrus Berry, which heals it back over half health. It then goes for Mirror Move, hitting us with Thunderbolt, which doesn't do a lot of damage. And we can fire off one more Thunderbolt, taking out the Pidgeot. Arcanine comes out next. I was really hoping it would be the Gyarados, but we're going to have to swap, and I bring Orin out on a Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz does a decent amount of damage, recoil back to Arcanine, and then I fire off a Waterfall. You notice how we're outspeeding Pokemon? I did finish out the Eevee training of these Pokemon. Forgot to mention that. We leave Arcanine on a sliver of health, but it goes for Flare Blitz again, and does a decent amount of damage to us, leaving us at 65 HP, but the recoil takes it out. That is poetic justice. Citrus Berry then heals us at the end of the turn up to 112 HP, and Gyarados comes out. Gyarados typically likes to set up with Dragon Dance, so I am going to swap Ject in. This is a very risky play. Gyarados cooperates and goes for Dragon Dance, and surprisingly we outspeed it the very next turn to take it out with a quad super effective Thunderbolt, winning us the 8th and final gym badge of Kanto. Now Tidus is the only Pokemon on my team that can learn the Rock Climb HM, so I did fly back to go get a Fire Blast TM because I taught Rock Climb over that, and I noticed Janine was sitting in here. Normally I come through this route from Viridian, and she's not here, or maybe I just don't pay attention. Nonetheless, she's on the way to give her dad some lunch because he's working day and night, and she wants to exchange numbers. Says if I call her afternoon on Monday, she'll re-battle me. So, that's neat. I didn't know that was a thing. But this is it. This is the culmination of the entire run, taking on Pokemon Trainer Red on the top of Mount Silver. All of my team is leveled up to 84 and ready to take on his team. I lead with Waka against his Pikachu for obvious reasons. It can only hit us with Iron Tail, but I also taught Waka Rain Dance. We're going to get hit with Iron Tail turn 1. It's resisted. I'm not too worried. Unless it gets the defense drop, which of course it does. Setting up the Rain Dance is just to get rid of Hail. Once the rain ends, the Hail doesn't come back. We do get hit with another Iron Tail the very next turn, and it crits, taking us all the way down to 66 HP. Crap. That's not good. We can fire off an Earth Power, and that is going to cleanly one-shot the Pikachu. But I had plans for Waka, and now these plans have to change. The fact that we're quad weak to Grass-type moves baits out the Venusaur next, so I swap in Lulu. What surprises me is when I swap in Lulu, we get hit with Sludge Bomb and not Giga Drain. It's probably because of Waka's low health. Nonetheless, I decide to go for Fly, hoping we can one-shot the Venusaur, and unfortunately Fly just misses out of the KO. Red then goes for a full restore. Figured it would. I do some chip with a Poison Fang, and then I go for Fly. Fly actually misses. That's the first time it's missed in this entire run, and we get hit with Sludge Bomb. Sitting at 85 HP. We then go for Fly again, and this time it connects, and we take out the Venusaur. This baits in Lapras because of its ice typing, and I send in Riku. But Lapras goes for Psychic. Pretty weird. I didn't even realize it had Psychic to go against my Poison type. Nonetheless, I can hit that priority fake out. We did reteach this after we beat Blue. Does a decent amount of chip damage, and then we can fire off a super effective stab rolling kick that does one-shot the Lapras. Out comes Charizard because of its flying type, so I swap in Orin, who gets hit with an Air Slash on the swap in. We then get hit with another Air Slash, and we can fire off a Waterfall that unfortunately doesn't KO the Charizard. I then decide to stay in and get hit with a Flare Blitz that does knock out Orin. I am so sorry. Because of Waka's low health, I didn't want to swap it in just in case, and this is what happened. Red then goes for a full restore, insult to injury. I can then fire off a surf that does a decent amount of damage, but unfortunately, not quite enough to KO the Charizard. I should have went for Rain Dance, but it doesn't matter. We get outsped and hit with Flare Blitz. Maybe we'll see some Poetic Justice as we did with Arcanine. But alas, Charizard lives on a sliver. With no other plan, I send out Ject, and I go for Thunderbolt, which takes that last little bit of health from Charizard. But at the cost of 2 friends. Snorlax comes out next because it has Crunch, so I decide to swap in Riku. Snorlax goes for Crunch. It is resisted, but we do get the defense drop, which is very scary. I go for Fake Out against the Snorlax, doing some chip damage and flinching it. It does a decent amount of damage. Technician is a great ability. A stab, super effective rolling kick. Despite the very, very slow tick of the health bar from the Snorlax, it is enough to one-shot it from the range it was at. Very nice. Last but not least is his Blastoise. I decide to stay in and go for Rolling Kick. Blastoise actually outspeeds us and misses its Focus Blast, and Rolling Kick doesn't quite do half. At this point, I decide we need to swap out, so I swap into our fully healed up Eject. Blastoise goes for Blizzard and it connects. What's with the Blizzards connecting? I don't know. We have no luck. I fire off a Thunderbolt. That's all she wrote. End of the match. Never mind. He hangs on with a sliver of health and fires off a Hydro Cannon, which is basically a water type Hyper Beam. There goes Ject. You were an amazing Pokemon, and that is half of our team down. Luckily for us, Blastoise is stuck. It has to recharge, and I can take it out with a priority Fake Out, winning us the battle against Red and winning us the run. Well, we lost half of our team at the end here, but we did beat the run, and I had so much fun doing it. Shiny hunting is a pain, but it was definitely well worth the grind. I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. The Gen 2 Pokemon was really fun. Some of these I've played with before. Some of these I've never even seen, like Politoed and Hitmontop. It's not something that I ever really did. It was a really, really fun challenge. Again, this has been in the works for a long time. I started this run back at the beginning of July, and here we are in the middle of September. It is 8 o'clock on Saturday night. I want to get this video up for you guys tomorrow morning, so I'm going to spend some time running through this edit as quickly as possible. Hope you guys enjoy the video. As always, if you did, leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing. You guys know all the stuff. And let's go ahead and fast forward to the end here where we can see that time, what the timestamp says. The timestamp says 137 hours. That's not quite accurate. We did spend a lot more time than that. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one.